Think about your morning walk to the office. You grab a coffee, look at your phone, and walk right past a black bird sitting on a lamppost. You do not think twice about it. The bird, however, is studying you. If you throw a cup at it or scare it off, that bird memorizes your face down to the shape of your nose and the space between your eyes. A few days later, it will find you and attack, bringing its friends along. Years down the road, young crows that were not even hatched when you threw that cup will recognize you on sight and dive bomb you. They run a highly organized, generational system of threat detection right above our heads. They know the rules of our cities better than we do. Most people look down on crows. We treat them as part of the background, feathered pests rummaging through grease traps and cold fries. But this is a massive mistake. How does an animal with a brain the size of a walnut solve multi-step physical puzzles, understand water displacement, and run a massive communication network? More importantly, why does our survival in these concrete blocks depend entirely on these cold observers? Without them, our streets would turn into breeding grounds for disease. Evolution spent millions of years shaping wild animals for forests and plains. When humans started building massive concrete cities, most species fled or died out. The urban environment was too loud, too toxic, and too dangerous. Crows did not run. They saw our cities as the biggest buffet on Earth. Survival here requires actual logic, not just instinct. To eat, crows had to learn how to exploit human infrastructure. Take walnuts. A crow's beak cannot crack a hard walnut shell, but car tires can. The birds started dropping nuts onto busy roads. But retrieving the cracked nut from moving traffic was a suicidal gamble. The crows solved this by learning how traffic lights work. Now, they drop the nut on the road and wait on a nearby wire. When the light turns red for cars and green for pedestrians, the crows hop down, grab the food, and fly away before the cars get moving again. They timed our traffic patterns and used our cars as nutcrackers. In Tokyo, crows started stealing wire clothes hangers from apartment balconies. They used them to build nests on high-voltage power lines. Metal is stronger than twigs and stands up to typhoons. The crows positioned the wire hangers carefully to avoid shorting out the grid, nesting safely in the middle of lethal electrical current. They took our technology and turned it into building materials. An individual bird cannot learn all these tricks, schedules, and hazards through simple trial and error. The lifespan of a single crow is too short. To survive, they had to build a way to store, update, and share collective knowledge across generations. Every evening, as the sun goes down, thousands of crows leave their daytime territories and fly to a single spot. To a human on the street, it looks like a scene from a horror film. In reality, it is a massive information hub. The birds do not just sleep, they share data. If a crow finds a newly opened restaurant dumpster or a spilled grain truck during the day, it communicates this to the group through specific vocalizations and posturing. The next morning, the hungry birds simply follow the successful scout back to the food. The flock operates like a single network, where one bird's luck feeds hundreds of others. This requires complex communication. Crow language is not just simple cawing. It consists of clicks, rattles, dry pops, and tiny pitch shifts that human ears struggle to separate. They also have regional dialects. A crow raised in Seattle speaks differently from a crow raised in New York. If you move a bird from one city to another, it faces a language barrier. It will not understand the local warnings or food calls. These dialects are not genetic. Crows learn them by listening to and copying their parents. This cultural transmission is why their facial recognition works so well. If you heard a crow, it sounds a specific alarm that describes you to every bird in earshot. The surrounding flock memorizes your face and links it to that threat call. At the evening roost, that description spreads. 5 years later, the flock will still recognize you, and young birds that were born long after your offense will join in the attack. They inherited your portrait through their flock's culture. To process all this information, coordinate group attacks, and build tools, you need massive processing power. Humans and other mammals use a thick, folded cerebral cortex to think. Birds do not have a cortex. A crow's brain is smooth and tiny. How does this tiny organ process complex social structures and physics puzzles without overheating? The answer lies in a completely different evolutionary path for the nervous system. For decades, scientists used the human brain as the gold standard of intelligence. Because bird brains are smooth and small, people assumed they were simple. This is where the term bird brain came from. Nature solved the problem through miniaturization. Inside the crow's brain, in an area called the pallium, neurons are packed incredibly tight. The distance between cells is tiny. While a mammal's brain requires massive physical space to run its connections, a crow's brain is built like a modern silicon microchip. It weighs less than an ounce, but holds about 1.5 billion neurons. In terms of cell density, crows beat many primates. This dense wiring lets them process physical realities instantly. In a famous experiment, researchers gave crows a deep tube of water with a treat floating out of reach. The crows solved this by dropping heavy stones into the tube to raise the water level. They ignored light plastic balls and wood, understanding that only heavy, solid objects would displace the water. They can also plan multiple steps ahead. A crow will take a straight wire, bend the tip into a hook using its feet and beak, and use that hook to pull a long stick out of a narrow pipe. It then uses that long stick to reach a piece of meat. The crow visualizes the final reward and manufactures the necessary tools before it even starts the task. This intelligence runs constantly, tracking car speeds, human schedules, and danger zones. Crows have integrated so deeply into our cities that they have become a fundamental part of the urban environment. If you remove them, our cities would fall apart in days. If every crow died tonight, the average city dweller would not notice anything wrong tomorrow morning. By the end of the week, though, the urban system would start to fail. Cities produce massive amounts of organic waste. We are not just talking about garbage bags. Think of roadkill, dead pigeons, discarded market scraps, and rotting meat behind restaurants. This is a perfect breeding ground for disease. Crows are the city's active sanitation department. Their stomach acid is incredibly strong, easily killing lethal bacteria like rabies, cholera, and botulism. They eat and digest infected meat before the pathogens can leak into our water supply or infect domestic pets. Without crows, rats would take over this food supply. With no competition and no pressure from predators above, the rat population would explode. Rats carry dozens of diseases that jump easily to humans. Soon, larger wild predators like foxes, coyotes, and stray dogs would move deep into suburban neighborhoods to hunt the rats. Crows prevent this chaos. They do not just eat garbage, they patrol their territories. If a hawk, owl, or stray predator enters their zone, the crows organize. They unite, dive bomb the intruder, and scream until the threat leaves the neighborhood. They maintain the border between the wild world and our concrete streets. This coordination requires incredibly smart, disciplined birds. But entry into this parallel society is incredibly difficult. We only see the smart survivors. The city is brutal to the young. A crow's life begins high up, often in nests built of wire and plastic on power towers or factory chimneys. Parents choose these high, dangerous places because cats and humans cannot reach them. But height does not guarantee survival. Crow chicks are born blind, naked, and helpless. Unlike horses or deer, which can run shortly after birth, young crows are stuck in the nest for weeks. Parents must make dozens of risky food runs every day, dodging cars, poisons, and power lines to bring back protein. The real danger starts when the chicks leave the nest. They drop to the ground as fledglings. They are clumsy, bad at flying, and completely oblivious to threats. Their high-tech brains are completely blank at this stage. They do not know which human faces are dangerous, how fast cars move, or how traffic lights work. More than half of these young birds die in their first year. They are run over by cars, caught by outdoor cats, poisoned by lawn pesticides, or killed when they fly headfirst into glass skyscrapers. During these dangerous weeks, the fledglings rely entirely on the older birds. Parent crows and neighboring adults watch them from the trees. If a dog or a human gets too close to a fledgling, the alarm sounds. The adults dive bomb the threat, targeting the head and dropping sticks or rocks. This is where the young crows get their education. The chick hiding in the bushes watches the older birds, memorizing what the predator looks like and how the flock defends itself. It is a daily elimination test. Only the fastest, smartest chicks with the best reflexes survive. The slow and oblivious are weeded out immediately. The ones that make it through grow up, join the communications network, learn the local dialect, and master the city's infrastructure. They become the invulnerable architects of our streets. With their survival secured and their memory sharp, crows find themselves with free time and spare cognitive energy. This is when they start doing things that have nothing to do with food or safety. They play, they tease, and they engage in behaviors that look a lot like dark humor, cruelty, and complex games. In the wild, survival is a game of strict energy math. African predators like lions or hyenas do not waste movement. They hunt, they protect their territory, they breed, and then they rest. Moving without a reason costs calories, and in the bush, a wasted calorie can mean starvation. Crows ignore this basic rule of biology. Once an urban crow survives the brutal first few months of life, it reaches the top of the city food chain. Its brain processes information so fast that finding food takes only an hour or two each day. This leaves the bird with something incredibly rare in nature: spare time. A dense, active brain needs constant work. Without a puzzle to solve, an intelligent creature gets bored. In crows, this boredom turns into mischief. Biologists around the world regularly watch crows go out of their way to pester other animals. They creep up behind sleeping dogs, cats, or even wolves and peck their tails. Sometimes they do this to steal food. More often, they do it for no practical reason at all. They want a reaction. They do it for the rush of playing with fire. They slide down snowy rooftops on plastic cup lids, using them like sleds. They play catch in the air, dropping pebbles and diving to grab them just before they hit the ground. Their intelligence went past simple survival long ago. Now, they explore the world through play and provocation. We only see this kind of behavior in a few advanced mammals, like chimpanzees or killer whales. Crows are constantly testing boundaries. They push, pull, and watch how other species react. They are building a massive mental database of every creature in the city. They watch our routines, our slow movements, and our distractions. Every weird stunt or aggressive prank is actually a quiet way of collecting information. This brings us to a chilling thought. If they can already trick other predators and use our cities for their own benefit, what comes next? How will this clever collective react when the balance of power on this planet starts to change? We like to think we own our cities. We build high-rises, run miles of fiber optic cables, and design advanced systems, confident that we are the masters of this space. The crows show us we are wrong. They did not just adapt to our world. They moved into our systems and made themselves comfortable. They use traffic to crack hard nuts. They build nests on high-voltage towers where no predator can reach them. They sleep on warm utility pipes to survive the freezing winters. Without them, our crowded cities would struggle. They act as a natural cleanup crew, eating waste and keeping disease outbreaks in check. We built a giant sandbox for them. They learned the rules, and now they play it better than we do. History shows us that empires fall, climates shift, and cities eventually turn to dust. When environments change, highly specialized animals usually die out because they cannot change their ways. The crows have a built-in safety net against extinction. They do not need sharp teeth, heavy claws, or venom. Their real weapon is a flexible brain, a shared memory that gets passed down for generations, and an ability to learn new rules on the fly. They survived the mammoths and the saber-toothed tigers. Now they live right alongside us, building their own habits and keeping track of our weak spots. For decades, naturalists assumed wild crows were simple opportunists. The old theory was that they simply sat back, waited for a bear or a wolf pack to finish a meal, and then picked at the bones. But when you watch their actual behavior, that theory falls apart. Crows do not serve these predators, they use them. A crow has incredible eyesight and can spot a dead deer from miles away. However, its beak is not strong enough to cut through thick hide. To solve this physical problem, the birds use wolves as a tool. When crows find a carcass they cannot open, they fly off to find a wolf pack. Once they spot the wolves, the birds make loud, specific calls, leading the predators straight to the dead animal. The wolves follow the scouts, tear open the hide, and eat. The crows wait patiently for the hard labor to finish, then fly down to snatch pieces of meat right out from under the wolves' noses. They also help with the active hunt. Crows will follow a wounded deer, assess its strength, and call coyotes or wolves to the spot. The birds act as air support, giving ground predators the exact coordinates in exchange for a cut of the meat. They turned the most feared hunters in the forest into their personal kitchen staff, and they did it through cold calculation. Over generations of watching wolves, crows have learned to read canine body language. They know exactly when a wolf is full and lazy, and when it is hungry and dangerous. They measure safety down to the inch, saving their tail-pulling games for the moments when they know they can get away with it. This absolute confidence in their own wits works perfectly in the forest. Humans, however, prove to be much more violent and unpredictable. When we realized these black flocks were growing too smart and too numerous, we started a quiet war to wipe them out. But the results of that fight surprised everyone. Throughout the 20th century, farmers and city officials tried everything to get rid of crows. The birds ate crops, cleared out songbird nests, scattered trash, and made too much noise in the evenings. People used poisons, guns, loud horns, lasers, and flashbangs. Cities spent thousands of dollars installing sharp metal and plastic spikes on building ledges, statues, and signs to keep the birds from landing. None of it worked for long. The birds did not use brute force to fight back. Instead, they used their collective brain. First, they figured out how we hunt. Crows quickly learned the difference between a person carrying a walking stick and a person carrying a shotgun. They even figured out the exact reach of a gun. A flock will sit quietly on a branch, waiting, and fly away the moment a hunter takes a step past that invisible line. Scarecrows stopped working after a day or two. The birds noticed the figure never moved, realized it was harmless, and started using its head as a lookout post. Their smartest move came in response to our city defenses. The sharp spikes meant to keep them away actually became their favorite building material. The birds worked together to snap the plastic and metal needles off the ledges. They carried this expensive gear up into the trees and built their nests with it. Now, those sharp spikes face outward from crow nests, protecting their eggs from hawks, cats, and raccoons. We bought and paid for the perfect defense system for their young. Every time we tried to pressure them, we only made them smarter. Poisons taught them to let older, weaker birds taste unfamiliar food first. Shooting forced them to set up better lookout systems. They simply ignored the loud horns once they realized the noise could not hurt them. We lost this quiet war without even realizing we were fighting. We tried to lock them out of our cities, but we ended up breeding a tough, smart neighbor that can bypass our best defenses. This leaves us with one final question. Where does this forced partnership go from here? Think back to your morning commute. The roar of buses, the sea of people, the rush to get coffee. We look at the concrete and glass around us and see a monument to human success. We assume we are the peak of evolution because we can build computers and skyscrapers. But we forget a basic truth of nature. The strongest do not always survive. The survivors are those who can adapt to change. To us, the city is a home. To a crow, the city is just a weird forest with metal trees and dangerous rivers of fast-moving cars. They know this forest inside and out. They understand its physical rules. They use its structures, and they turn our garbage into food to raise their chicks. They keep our streets clean of disease, and they use our buildings to shelter their young. They remember our faces, our schedules, and our habits, passing that knowledge down to their kids through complex calls. Their tiny brains work with the speed of a computer, constantly studying everything around them. We tried to kill them, and we only made them smarter. We tried to build fences, and they used our fences to build their homes. History is not just written by the creatures that build cities. It is written by the ones who outlast them. The dinosaurs are gone. The mammoths died out when the world warmed up and human hunters arrived. Our own civilization is fragile, and a major crisis could easily disrupt it. The crows will still be here. Their way of living is built to last. If our cities went quiet tomorrow, they would simply adjust. They would find new food, develop new calls, and keep passing their knowledge down to the next generation. The blackbird on the traffic light is not afraid of you. It is watching you with the quiet, clinical eye of a scientist. To that bird, you are just another part of the forest, a loud, sometimes dangerous, but completely predictable neighbor. They figured out their place in our world a long time ago. Now, they are just waiting for us to catch up.